What I'm trying to get through my head is that it's not saving money if I don't need it or I don't like it. Hi, I'm Catherine. I'm a recovering shopaholic, and today we're going to talk about a few things I bought this year that I regret purchasing, and maybe you will learn from my mistakes. I was semi-good in 2024 because I did 2 clothing no-buys. I did the 75 Hard Style Challenge started by Old Loser in Brooklyn on TikTok in the beginning of this year, and which is 75 days, so that's 2.5 months. And then I did it again in the fall, although I did fail. And it involves not buying clothes at all for that entire time period. Even though I did shop for clothes, it was in those little windows, but I still managed to find other things that I wanted to buy that were not a great use of my money. Let's talk about it, I guess. Suddenly I see. Number 1 is that damn Shenley steam mop. You know the one. It's the TikTok steam mop that's pink and black. I still have it. I have used it. It's just that I don't use it all the time. It's really for deep cleaning. And I think what sold me is that I was getting way too into the ASMR of it all. I was really enjoying watching people steam the black stuff off of the grout in their shower and deep clean the grime off of their ovens, out of the inside of their ovens. It seemed like a really hygienic way to clean without as many chemicals. It's like $100, I think. There were all these like TikTok shop coupons and stuff like that, but I'm pretty sure I spent $100 on Amazon. And the reason why I did that was because even though I was influenced on TikTok proper, I purchased it on Amazon because I wanted to be able to return it if I didn't like it, blah, 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 blah. The first thing I did was I deep cleaned my oven with it, okay? And it did work well. I have to say it works, but I haven't really used it since then. Goobus? Like, I would much rather use a Swiffer wet pad or even spot clean parts of the floor. I don't need to steam mop every week. It's actually really annoying to like plug something in and fill it with water and get that all over your house and then have to clean it out afterward. I get that it's not that difficult to clean up after a steam mop, but to me, I have limited space. I live in a 1-bedroom apartment in New York City. I didn't need an appliance to clean my floors, okay? I have like 400 square feet of floor. It wasn't that serious. The oven is clean, but the thing is, I actually moved out of that apartment. So I don't even get to enjoy the benefits of that clean oven. And my second regret, random makeup I've never tried, especially from the drugstore and especially from like Marshall's and TJ Maxx. The truth is, I know myself, there's like a few products that I really like and that work for me all the time. And I also have a few shades that I know and love. Instead of trying to save $1 or $2 here and there by buying a random dupe in the slightly wrong shade, I should just get the same NARS concealer that I've been getting for the last 15 years in the shade Custard, just like I've been doing for the last 15 years. Not waste money buying stuff that I don't really like and that I then feel like I have to continue using until it's gone or it's wasteful. So then I just end up literally using stuff that I don't like. What I'm trying to get through my head is that it's not saving money if I don't need it or I don't like it. And that's major. The thing about drugstore makeup or buying makeup at Marshall's or buying makeup on Amazon is that you cannot test it most of the time, and they usually don't have a return policy that's any good. If you go to Sephora and you buy something, even though Sephora might be problematic in their own way, they do accept returns. And this might not be true for you, but for me, I feel like I buy more options of something when something is cheap. So like, for example, I have these e.l.f. blush sticks, and there was one color that I knew I would want because it was in a shade that I know that always looks good on my skin tone. So I got that, but they were like $3 or something. So I ended up getting 2 more in other shades just in case. And the truth is, I only really like the way I look in the first shade that I was definitely planning to get, that I definitely liked. And the other 2, I'm just using now, even though I don't really like them that much. Could have saved money just getting the one that I knew that I wanted, but I couldn't resist a deal and I couldn't resist buying up a bunch of junk. And that is a problem. I need to that's a mental issue. I feel like collecting makeup like appeals to some childlike creativity within us where we just want to have an array of colors and options to like play with for fun. But like, I'm not a makeup artist. Most of the time, if I try to do something outside my comfort zone, it ends up looking bad. Do you ever have that happen when you know that you have like a big event coming up, so you want to try like a fun eye, and then you end up with a lot of like fallout and just looking like really stupid at an event that was actually so important, and it would have been much better if you just did your regular makeup? Or is that just me? Anyway, my lips are so dry. On a similar note of like beauty products and stuff like that, gag sunscreens that are really expensive because they are like a trending brand, and those Touchland hand sanitizers that are like $10. Stupid. I shouldn't have bought that. Oh my God, another thing is when I was doing my clothing no buys, for some reason I became a lot more prone to impulse purchasing things in the beauty and fragrance and hygiene department. So I bought a lot of different kinds of lotions. Turns out I'm really allergic to certain types of fragrances anyway, so I should just stick to one kind of lotion that I already know works for me. And I also got really into like perfumes. I don't know what it was. I think I wanted to like experiment with changing my essence and my aura without purchasing clothing. And then I discovered Dossier, which was cool because it was affordable, but I bought literally 3 perfumes, and I don't know how I'm ever gonna use 3 large sizes of perfumes. The one that I got that I was most excited about was a dupe of a perfume that I already wear, but it's not quite as good. It's a little bit like too powdery by comparison to Margiela Beach Walk, which is like my usual fragrance. It's that one's a little warmer and a little like maybe even muskier. I'm not sure how to describe it, but the Dossier version has a little bit of a powdery scent that's like just a little bit off. And again, because it was cheaper, that was the reason why I thought, oh, I'll buy like a couple other Dossier fragrances to try. And at that point, I would have just spent the same amount of money if I would have bought the thing that I knew that I wanted. Okay, I need to go faster. Okay, I bought a hair straightener this year. I don't know why I did that. I don't even really flat iron my hair. I think I wanted like an easy way to do my bangs because I don't fully have curtain bangs. They are like straight across, but they never like look right fully. And I saw someone do their bangs with a straightener on TikTok. And even though the straightener was like literally $15 and you can get hair straighteners for really cheap, I don't even need to be tempted to put heat on my hair. My hair is really fragile. And I have a Shark blow dryer with multiple interchanging heads and diffusers. I have the Revlon blow dry brush. I have 2 different types of curling irons, and I have the heatless hair curler things. Plus, I have naturally wavy hair. So I have plenty of options already without using a flat iron. I did not need that. And so, yeah. Another thing I regret, buying a day planner. I did this in August when it was back to school season, and I was like, oh, I wanna get my shit together. I'm a Virgo, I'm ready to be planning. But the thing is, I already have a system. I use Google Calendar, and I use an empty notebook for scratch paper when I wanna make lists and cross them off. And then for more granular long-term planning, I use Notion. There's not really any room in my routine for using a day planner. First of all, like I need to change things around all the time, so that's why I like Google Calendar. I don't actually time block, but I put my tasks at the top of each day in my Google Calendar. And then when I sit down to work, I use scratch paper to like make notes and scratch things off. And that feels really iterative. It feels really adjustable, malleable. It works best for like my brain. I think I've always been really susceptible to the allure of stationery. So now I just have this day planner that I literally have not used one time. Luckily, like it was an 18-month one, so maybe I'll find someone who needs a day planner for 2025 and I'll give it to them. Okay, this is major. Vintage stuff online without confirming the measurements. This was actually something I bought last fall, but I'm still thinking about it, so it counts. I had lost a little bit of weight in 2023 because I had started running. and I got a little too confident. I started buying some vintage low-rise jeans on Mercari, secondhand, and I just was like, oh, like I can wear like a 29. No, not a 2000s 29 low-rise with no stretch. I couldn't even get them up over my thighs. It was comical. But of course I can't return things on a website like Mercari. The sellers did nothing wrong. I was just delulu and I wanted the jeans and I didn't want to believe that it wasn't gonna work for me. That finger, that shopping thumb, is too trigger happy, okay? This one was like a really big purchase and I'm just gonna say it. I don't like fully regret this, but I regret it enough to put it on the list. Okay. I got masseter Botox in December of last year, but it was a two-parter. I have really bad TMJ and I clenched my jaw for years and ground my teeth so badly that I actually have a filling in my tooth just from grinding my teeth. So these jaw muscles have always been really, really strong and they used to be pretty bulky as well. And I was thinking, oh, not only can we hit the TMJ where it hurts, but also we can maybe like slim down the jawline a little bit. So I went overboard. I think when I went back the second time, I saw someone who wasn't my usual injector. And because like you pay per area and not per unit at the place where I go, I got a little greedy and I was like, let's just put more in. I'm in my 30s, so you don't want to be too, I didn't really realize this, but you don't want to put too much Botox in your masseters if you're worried at all about jowling in this area. And I just felt like my face sunk in a little bit more. I felt a little bit older and like my face did look thinner, but sometimes having a thinner face doesn't necessarily mean more beautiful. You live and you learn. So I don't regret actually getting the masseter Botox for like medical reasons, but I should have been more discerning about how many units I got because it was unnecessary. Okay, this one's like big and I know this is gonna resonate with a lot of you all. So I love to read. I'm a big book girly. And during Virgo season this year, I was like, I want to improve my book collection. And on my birthday, I took myself to Greenlight Bookstore in Fort Greene and I splurged and I bought a stack of books that had been recommended to me from various sources, some of them book talk. It turns out, go figure, I don't like every book on book talk. I read a few that I just did not think were worth the $35 for the hardback, and I ended up putting them in little free libraries in my neighborhood afterward. Later, when I realized that I had spent like $100 on books I didn't even like, I said, okay, you know what? I'm gonna start going to the library and I'm gonna start reading books there. Hello, the library is free. I don't know I don't know why we haven't normalized going to the library and made that cutesy on TikTok. Library girls. I did check out some books from the library that I loved. There was one book that I got at the library that I loved so much that I actually went and bought the physical copy of it, and that was Writers and Lovers by Lily King. I read it, I loved it. I was like, this is a rereadable for me, and I purchased the book because I wanted to support the author, and this was something that I wanted in my collection. Anyone can do that. But most of the books that I got from the library, I ended up thinking they were like, okay, I was glad that I read them, but I didn't miss not having them on my shelf. Kind of a no-brainer. Also, used books are a thing. Get into it. I went to a used bookstore and I bought a bunch of books in my hometown for like $1 each, and I actually ended up liking those a lot more than some of the ones that I bought brand new. This is really random, but I bought Polaroid film on Amazon recently because I have an old Polaroid camera and I cannot get it to take good pictures. They are so dark. I'm like, I can't figure out if something's wrong with the film or if something's wrong with the camera. But people in the reviews also say that like sometimes the film doesn't like turn out quite right and it's like hard to find the correct exposure for it. The thing about Polaroid film is it's not the same as it was before Polaroid shut down in the 2000s and they stopped making it. It used to be a lot better, and Polaroid cameras, the original actual Polaroids, they had like a flash that would work in low light, which would help the film expose better. I don't think the flash is working on my 80s Polaroid camera, so I might want to try it outside, but I don't know. It was just an example of something that I bought on Amazon because I was like, oh, this would be like a fun hobby, and I just bought it without thinking, and of course I can't return that. Of course I can't. So, you know, no shade to Polaroid, no shade to the film, but it was one of those things that like I could have thought for like 5 more seconds about it and saved like $15. Halloween costume pieces. I am a big proponent of thrifting pieces for your costume, but even better than that, making your costume or just like putting something together with stuff that you already have. I don't know why I didn't do that this year. I mean, I just didn't have a choice because I was doing a matching costume with a friend of mine. It was Princess Diaries and we needed like some specific stuff. So I did buy some pieces from Amazon and I was like, oh, maybe I'll return them. But then I like missed the return window and I ended up having to donate the skirt and the shirt that I wore for my Princess Diaries costume because there was just no chance that I was ever going to wear those again. And so it was a waste of money and I feel bad because it was just like wasteful in general to buy something that I only wore one time. A lot of times I do choose costumes that I will work backwards from my wardrobe from what I have and I'll go, oh, like who's somebody who I can dress up as that already kind of like looks like me or wears clothes that I own, and then like I'll throw a wig on. Like another costume that I did was Scarlett Johansson's character in Lost in Translation. I did that this year. I wore my own clothes and a pink wig. And a wig is something that I can keep and reuse for sketch comedy or something else that I want to do, and it didn't feel as wasteful. Also, I feel like we're in this era of doing like 2 to 3 Halloween costumes a year for social media, and like if you're buying stuff for one-time use for that, it's just gonna be really wasteful and you're gonna be spending a lot of money in October, like just for a gag, and I don't think that that's necessary. Okay, trendy water bottles. You don't need them. I don't own a Stanley tumbler, but I will never buy one. It seems like a waste of money. They don't seem functional. It doesn't seem like the kind of thing that you can just like throw in your bag and take with you. I don't see the point. I don't drive a car. Maybe they're cup holder appropriate or whatever, but in general, I feel like your basic screw top water bottle is the way to go. And they make some that are durable and they might not be the cutest thing in the entire world, but you should get that instead of this trendy thing, because I got this thing called a memo bottle. I talked about it in my What's in My Bag video that no one watched, so if you're curious what a memo bottle looks like, you can go check out that video, or I'll just put a picture right here. It's clear plastic and it has a metal top. And what's the problem with that? Well, there is no problem, except that one time I had it in the side pocket of my backpack and I bent down to grab something and the bottle fell out. The problem is the metal top hit the concrete and the plastic couldn't absorb the shock from the metal hitting concrete. So the whole top of the water bottle broke in half. It just broke, it just snapped in half. Had it been glass, I would have expected that to happen. But being that it was a $35 plastic bottle, I thought that it would be more durable than that. How wrong I was. I liked that it would fit in my purse. Ultimately, I don't think the hydration that I got from 1 month of having this bottle before it broke was worth the money. Okay, but here's another thing. Wooden hangers, I think they're aesthetically pleasing. I love them, but now that my boyfriend and I live together, they take up way too much space in the closet, and this apartment that we live in does not have that much closet space. I wish that we were just using all felt hangers for everything in our closet. I know, it's just a small thing, but it makes me sad to look at we have this box now of wooden hangers that we just aren't using because we can't fit them inside the closet physically, but I don't want to get rid of them because I know that I'm looking at a box of like $35 worth of wooden hangers that I know has value. Maybe I can sell them on Facebook Marketplace, and that's probably what I'll do, but I don't know. We have to start thinking about function versus aesthetics. And yes, like wooden hangers are functional, but it's like, ask yourself, am I living that type of life? Am I really gonna do a capsule wardrobe where the expensive hanger is worth it because it's gonna look nice and I'm gonna have plenty of room? Or do I need to choose the less aesthetically pleasing and more functional option? based on my lifestyle? Simple question to ask yourself. Something else that I regret, which I feel weird saying because it is technically more sustainable, but just not quite as functional as I need it to be, is those reusable makeup remover pads. I don't know if they're like microfiber or what, but the ones I had were like, I can't remember what brand it was. I think it was like Laura Mercier brand or something. And they come in like a little mesh bag so you can wash them in the machine. And I would do that, but then I realized that like they just get stained and they don't really get fully cleaned. Not to mention like I use a shared laundry, so my washing machine in the basement of this building is not the best smelling, like cleanest washing machine in the entire world. Like my clothes smell fine when I take them out of there, but I'm also not like rubbing my clothes into my eyes and onto my skin. I ended up feeling like I was using a reusable hygiene product that was, you know, not really saving that much waste and also not a better product for my purposes. So I have switched back to cotton pads. Not to mention the fact that like I need cotton pads anyway if I want to take off like nail polish, for example, because nail polish would stain the reusable ones, and then I wouldn't want to reuse the nail polish ones like on my eye when I'm taking off my makeup. Like it seems like a small thing, but again, like I just feel bad tossing this stuff or giving it away when I don't use it. I feel like there are other ways that I can cut back on my consumption and cut back on my waste that are like actually functional that don't impact my hygiene. So I'm gonna try to figure out instead. This is a big one. Apps that I don't need. Apps that are not good. There are so many times where I'm laying on my couch or I'm sitting at my desk or I'm laying in my bed and I'm thinking like, I just want one app that does X, Y, and Z super easily, and I can set it and forget it, whether it's scheduling my Instagram posts or cleaning out my phone or helping me enhance photos that are like poor quality or something, right? Like, so I'm using sort of this like confirmation bias where I like find out that an app exists and I'm like, okay, I like want this to work. So I'll read like 1 or 2 reviews that support my hope that the app will be good. And I go, okay, great, I'll sign up for it. And I just do it. I use my little Face ID to authorize the payment before I have a chance to change my mind. Then once I go in there and I start like messing around, poking around, I realize like this is just as hard as if I did it myself, or this is really not helpful. This is not doing everything that I want it to do. So I either need to get another app or I might as well just use no app whatsoever and do it all myself. Like for example, I've tried Planoly. It didn't really work for my needs, but I paid for it. I think I paid like $20 or something for it before I even realized that it wasn't gonna be for me. I signed up for this thing called Lease Swap, which is something I found out about on Reddit that helps you find people to take over your apartment when you're trying to move. That's something that I was trying to do like a couple months ago before we moved. And I didn't find that it worked at all, but I paid for like the monthly membership or whatever to get access to it. Baby, if they have a trial, just use the trial. And if they don't have a trial, it's probably for a reason. It's probably because it's not worth it and they want to get your money before you find out. So you and me, we need to spend more time thinking about that stuff before we push authorize on our payment. And then lastly, I spend too much money, maybe less than usual, but still too much, on delivery services. And this is the reality, is that if you live in a city that is accessible, you should be trying to shop local as much as possible. And that is not something that I do enough. So I'm ordering way too many things from Amazon Prime that are not necessary. I could just walk my ass down to CVS and pick some of that stuff up. I'm getting meal delivery when I could easily go to the grocery store and pick something up to cook myself, or even go to the restaurant and pick up the already made food myself. For a long time, I lived in a neighborhood that was a little bit less accessible for some of the nicer restaurants, or even grocery stores are a little bit more inconvenient to get to, especially when I lived in a 4th floor walk-up. But now I live in a neighborhood where everything is around me, and I just need to, despite the weather, put on my boots, put on my coat, a beanie, get my tote bags. Maybe I'll buy one of those little like shopping cart things and get out and get the things that I need locally. Because Amazon does not really take care of their workers very well. There's so many sustainability reasons for just not having things constantly delivered. And then on top of that, it costs you more. When you're having meals delivered, when you're having your groceries delivered, you're paying for that service, you're tipping a person. And ultimately, if you have the time and you're able-bodied and the only reason that you're not doing it is because it would be inconvenient or like you're lazy, then try to just like justify getting out there more. Back in the day, we used to go to the store for fun. We used to run errands. Start making friend dates to run errands. I think we should bring that back. I want to start going to like Target with the girls more. Can you stop? Oh my God. That reminds me, there's also probably some cat things that I bought this year that were unnecessary. I probably wasted my money on a lot of treats that they don't like. I bought a litter box that they don't use. I probably bought them too many toys before lifting up the couch and finding the ones that they already lost. I don't know. Pets eat all your money, and that's just a fact. There's nothing we can do about that. This is Gus. His breath smells like a toilet. Okay, so that's my list of all the things that I bought this year that I regret buying. I'm de-influencing you, girl. There's definitely more where that came from because I make a lot of mistakes, so I'll try to check in with another one of these in a few months. Let me know if there's other things that you regret buying in the comments. I would love to hear, and maybe we can help each other not make the same mistakes. In the meantime, I love you, you're beautiful, and never forget that everyone is a princess. Shout out Paris Hilton. Bye.